November is Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Month. Now, this is a rare disease that, if left undiagnosed, only leaves most patients with 2 years to live. To talk a bit more about the life-threatening disease, we're joined today by founder and chairperson of the Rare Disease Society of South Africa, Kelly du Plessis, and by vice chairperson of Pulmonary Hypertension South Africa, Sumaya Kola. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
Kelly, if I can start with you, just talk to us about this disease. What exactly is it?
Pulmonary hypertension is basically the same as hypertension in the heart. It is a restriction or narrowing or blockage of the arteries in the lungs. And basically, as a result, the same amount of blood gets forced through a much smaller artery, and it results in hypertension in the lungs. And
Sumaya, you were actually born with the disease. Just tell us a bit about your journey.
Yes, okay. I was born with a hole in my heart called an aortopulmonary window, which was repaired when I was 6 months old. At the age of 14, they found out that I have pulmonary hypertension, secondary to the AP window that was repaired, apparently reopened somewhere between the time I was born and the time I was 14 years old. And it was quite severe at the time, so they declared me inoperable. And basically, it's when I was diagnosed at that time, the doctors told me I would be lucky if I saw my 20th birthday. And praise to God, I'm 26 at the moment. And it's been, I'm not going to say it's been an easy journey. It hasn't been an easy journey at all. Especially within the last 3 years, where in 2012 I had to be listed for a heart and bilateral lung transplant. So I'm still on the list for that, and just taking one day at a time. But daily life with pulmonary hypertension can become a challenge.
Mm-hmm. And Kelly, in a lot of cases, this is really wrongly diagnosed. Why is that?
Well, I think the symptoms of pulmonary hypertension very much mimic many other lung conditions. So, obviously you would think of the more common stuff. Doctors generally tend to think of things such as asthma, etc. And it's generally only when treatments are ineffective for those more common conditions that, more investigations are done. And I think if I can, just mention to the public that I think one of the biggest differences is the chronic fatigue that you experience with pulmonary hypertension. So if you are somebody that is out there that is battling to breathe, you're constantly suffering from shortness of breath, and you're suffering from chronic fatigue, something simple like walking up a flight of stairs for a pulmonary hypertension patient is like life-threatening. Like, they walk, by the time they get to the top, they're ready to pass out because there's just no oxygen moving through their lungs. So if you are somebody out there that is experiencing those sort of symptoms, go to your doctor and say, listen, I don't actually think that the current treatment for the asthma is working, or whatever the case is, and do you think it's possible for us to start looking at something more?
And you mentioned earlier, it's actually kind of like breathing through a straw. That's how you will be struggling?
Correct. It's one of the challenges is, breathe through a straw challenge. Is that something that we always ask people who ask, what's it like to live with pulmonary hypertension? If you block your nose and breathe through a straw for 5 minutes, that's what they feel like all the time, purely because there's just a lack of oxygen moving through their veins. So, you have that shortness of breath. They often are quite blue around the mouth, and they have blue lips. And, the chronic fatigue, like I said, those I think are the 3 sort of main symptoms that are recognizable.
And then just currently in South Africa, if we look at statistics, how many people have been diagnosed with this? So
we're sitting with about 250 patients, obviously more coming forward every single day, and there isn't an up-to-date registry, which makes it difficult. But from a population point of view, it is definitely a lot more common. We should be sitting with thousands of patients, not only hundreds. So there's definitely an underdiagnosis in South Africa.
And then, Sumaya, where did you go to get help eventually at the end of the day? And what do you encourage and say to people who think that they might be struggling with this?
Eventually, I came into contact with the Pulmonary Hypertension Association internationally, and they referred me to the Pulmonary Hypertension Association in South Africa, which was founded by a lady named Sharon Chetty, which sadly passed away in 2009. And I found tremendous help, and I came into contact with many other patients. And we've been on this journey together, which has helped because when you initially diagnose, because it's so rare, it becomes a very lonely experience, and patients become overwhelmed and sad, and they don't know how to deal with it. And when you have others that are going through the same situation, you can connect, and you understand that yes, it's very severe and it's terminal illness, but there's hope.
Yes.
There's always hope.
Definitely. And we do have your details here in South Africa, so we will make sure that we put all of that up onto our Newsroom Facebook page and onto our website. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.